Hey guys, today we're going to talk about Roborock's Flexi Lite wet and dry vacuum cleaner, more specifically how it compares to the Flexi Pro, what exactly is different, and is it worth paying more money to get the Flexi Pro. Now, to be honest, looking at the differences purely on the spec sheet, there's a lot of differences, and clearly the Flexi Pro is a much better machine than the Flexi Lite. However, when I used the Flexi Lite, I was quite surprised that the impact of not having a lot of the features was much less than I had thought it would be. So while there's a lot of differences on paper, in practice, I felt they were much less important than what I had made them out to be. Now, this is not going to be an in-depth review of the Flexi Lite. Matter of fact, I did an in-depth review of the Flexi Pro, and you can watch that by clicking over here. And a lot of what I said about the Flexi Pro applied to the Flexi Lite, with a few exceptions, and this is where the Flexi Lite differs from the Pro. So this video is going to be more of highlighting the differences between the Lite and the Pro, but also giving my thoughts on whether the Pro is worth paying extra to get, or if the Lite is good enough. Let's find out more. Now, when you first look at both machines, the Flexi Pro and the Flexi Lite, at first sight, they look very similar, if not almost identical, and hard to distinguish apart. But actually, there's a lot of differences under the hood. Starting with probably the most apparent difference, which is the brush. So on the Flexi Pro, the brush extends to both edges. That is, it gives you dual edge cleaning, whereas on the Flexi Lite, it only goes to the edge on one side, which is the right side, but not on the left. So it's only one side cleaning. The advantage, of course, with dual edge cleaning is that you can get close to edges and baseboards in whichever direction you're going, versus only getting close to the edge on one side. The second major difference is with the wheels. So the Flexi Pro has Roborock's latest SlideTech adaptive wheels. That is, the wheels assist you as you move both forward and backward in moving the vacuum. The way they work is very similar to riding an electric bike if you've ever been on one. And as soon as you start pedaling, you can feel the motor is pushing you or propelling you forward. It's kind of the same thing with these. When you push the machine forward, the wheels detect that and give you some kind of assistance or help you push it forward. But more interestingly, when you pull it backwards, you also get that same assistance. These wheels don't exist on the Flexi Lite. It has normal rolling wheels. However, that's not to say that there's no assistance happening on the Flexi Lite, because there is. It's more of a passive assistance. So the brush roll is rotating, as you know, and as it is rotating, it's helping you push the machine forward. Where you do feel a difference, however, is if you pull the machine backwards without the assisted wheels. Obviously, there's not going to be any assistance in your pulling motion, because obviously the brush is rotating forward. Having said that, I thought I would feel the impact more of having the assisted wheels or not having them on the Flexi Lite. However, that wasn't the case. And that's partly because of, as I said, that assistance that's provided by the rotating brush, but also by the fact that the Flexi Lite is a whole kilogram lighter than the Flexi Pro. So I think the combination of being lighter, but also the assistance from the rotating brush, made the impact of not having those assisted wheels much less than I had anticipated. So the Flexi Lite was not in any way difficult to push around or maneuver or even tiring. And if you've never tried the Flexi Pro or any machine with assisted wheels, I don't think you'll ever notice that there's anything wrong with that. You probably will only notice that if you've tried assisted wheels and then you use this without them. But if it's all you have and all you've used, I don't think it was difficult to maneuver at all. On the contrary, I think it was actually quite easy to maneuver and push around. The other difference is on the battery life. So on the Flexi Pro, you get up to 50 minutes of battery. On the Flexi Lite, you get up to 40 minutes, which is somewhat significant, but I wouldn't say a deal breaker, especially that some of the competitors in the market, even the Pro versions of machines, give you 35 to 40 minutes. So I would say the 40 minutes on the Flexi Lite are pretty decent anyway. Now, the capacity of the water tanks, both the dirty and the clean water tanks, also take a hit, unfortunately, with the Flexi Lite. The Flexi Pro has a 730 milliliter clean water tank. On the Flexi Lite, it's down to 620, and for the dirty water tank, it's 450 milliliters on the Pro and 400 on the Lite. Now, to be honest, I felt even the tanks on the Flexi Pro are somewhat small and quite smaller than most of the competitors. It's unfortunate that with the Flexi Lite, they're even smaller. So there's that. And then there's a couple of differences in cleaning and drying the brush roll. So on the Flexi Pro, you can clean the brush roll with hot water, but on the Flexi Lite, you cannot. Personally, I have reservations on the effectiveness of cleaning with hot water. Granted, in theory, hot water does indeed clean better than room temperature water, but in my opinion, for that to be significantly effective, the brush rolls have to be in contact with hot water for a certain period of time. And to be honest, I don't think that is the case. I don't think the hot water is in contact with the brush for a significant enough amount of time to make a difference between hot water and room temperature water. So this particular feature, although in theory better on the Flexi Pro, I wouldn't say it's quite the disadvantage on the Flexi Lite. Having said that, there's also a difference in the brush drying. So on the Flexi Pro, you get a 30-minute drying session. On the Flexi Lite, it is 1 hour. Now, this depends on you if it's significant or not. If you're going to have the machine in the same room that you're going to be in, the drying cycle is not very loud, but it is noticeable. And if I was sitting in the same room, I would want it to be done in 30 minutes rather than an hour. However, if you have the machine in another room or in your basement or in a closet, this might be of little to no impact to you if the brush rolls dry in an hour versus 30 minutes. The Flexi Pro also has LED lights on the cleaning head, whereas the Flexi Lite does not. Now, this is a cool thing to have. However, I don't think it's of that big of an importance, especially that I found the lights on the Flexi Pro to be not very bright. So if you're in a poorly lit area, they do offer some visibility, but they're not very bright. So while nice to have, I wouldn't say not having them is a big deal. And lastly, the Flexi Pro does have Wi-Fi or app connectivity, which is nice to have. The Flexi Lite does not. What the app connectivity allows you to do is to customize a couple of the settings on the machine, like how much water you want dispensed or how much suction power. You can also start and stop the cleaning or the drying session, and also adjust how long you want the drying session to be, if it's 30 minutes, an hour, or an hour and a half. So these are nice to have, and unfortunately the Flexi Lite does not have any app connectivity. Another thing that you lose by not having app connectivity is the ability to upgrade the firmware version of the machine. So if Roborock introduces any updates with the Flexi Pro, because it is Wi-Fi connected, you can upgrade the firmware, whereas with the Flexi Lite, you cannot. So as you can see, there's a lot of differences between the Flexi Pro and the Flexi Lite. Now, here comes the million-dollar question. Is the Flexi Pro a better machine than the Flexi Lite? And is it worth paying more for? To answer the first part of the question, it's definitely a better machine. So if money is of no issue to you, then I'd say absolutely go for the better machine. The Pro has so many things that are better than the Lite. However, let's talk about value for money. And here is where it gets a bit trickier, depending on how much price difference there is between the Pro and the Lite. So list price in the US, there's about $100 difference, but there are promotions often. As a matter of fact, at the time of shooting this review, both are on sale, and there's about $80 difference between the two. But in other countries, there's up to $200, or the equivalent in that currency, a difference in price between the Pro and the Lite. So let me go ahead and say that $200 difference is definitely not worth the upgrade. I think, as I said, the Flexi Pro is definitely a better machine, but what you lose is not that much. Perhaps the most significant thing is the dual edge versus single edge cleaning, but it's not a deal breaker because in theory you still can get close to edges, and simply the brush gets to the edge only on the right side. So if you're cleaning baseboards on the right, there's no issue. If they're on the left, simply turn around and walk the other direction, and then you have the brush on the right cleaning the sideboards on the left. So it is more convenient to have dual edge cleaning, but not a deal breaker. You can still get close to the edges with a little bit of inconvenience. Beyond that, as I said, the missing LED lights, not a big deal. The missing adaptive wheels, well, nice to have, definitely not a big deal because the machine is very easy to maneuver. You lose 10 minutes of battery life. I think 40 minutes is good enough for most cases. You lose hot water cleaning. Again, as I said, I have my reservations on how effective that is, and I don't think there's that significant of a difference between hot and room temperature water. So also not a massive feature to miss. The drying could be 30 minutes versus an hour. But if this is not important to you and you're simply looking for value for money, I think the Flexi Lite is a very capable machine. So I would definitely recommend it. If there's a small price difference between the two, then definitely go for the Flexi Pro. But if there's a huge price difference, or you're simply wanting to get the better bang for your buck, then I don't think you can go wrong with the Flexi Lite. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. I will put links in the description to both machines. Make sure you check them out to see the price at the moment you're watching this. As I said, there could be promotions running, and these are affiliate links. So if you do decide to purchase any of those, I would appreciate if you would go through my links. I may earn a small commission on some purchases at absolutely no extra cost to you, but this would definitely help support the channel. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, thoughts, or comments, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. And as always, if you liked the video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel, as this encourages me to continue producing content. Until next time, cheers.